we're going to have the conversation today on the Maryland Mortgage Program specifically. If we haven't met yet, my contact information is displayed. On the top right-hand side is your opportunity for you to scan the QR code and connect with me. If not, let's connect on social media, Brenda Kasuva, or Training with Brenda. Contact information is displayed on the left-hand side, which way you are comfortable in reaching out. We are adding to our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and you search for Brenda Kasuva, you will find additional videos that are going to be presented there as well for you to feed into any topic that we might have spoken about on another Growth Friday session. Today's conversation is coming to us through a collaboration or partnership with Maryland Mortgage Program. Our guest speaker, Catherine Kramer-Dale, is a representative from Maryland Mortgage Programs. We thank you so much for joining us today, Catherine, and sharing with us about these particular products that the state of Maryland does offer, that sometimes we as agents have known that they existed, but things have changed over time. And with the recent updates, we found that it is very helpful for us to go ahead and have you go ahead and join us and share with us what is available. So I am going to start off with this particular website. MarylandHomeownership.com is a website that is facilitated and or was created by Maryland Realtors. What it does is for those of us who work in, let's say, a specific county or geographic area, and then you get a buyer who's out of the area outside of your norm. Yes, you are licensed in Maryland. Your code of ethics does say that you need to find out what is special about that area if you haven't done business in it. And you will get buyers who are asking, okay, for example, I don't know much about Worcester County or Wicomico County down in Ocean City. Are there any programs? Here's where you are able to come in. MarylandHomeownership.com. When you go to mortgage programs, this is a product that you as an agent can share and or use when you're working with your buyers or future clients. And you can go, let's say my example was Wicomico County. And when I hit search, this is where I am able to be given a beginning point as to the programs that are possible for the home buyer conversation. So when you go to this website, MarylandHomeownership.com, take advantage of you finding out what other programs do exist in our state of Maryland. In addition to that, MarylandHomeownership.com also provide toolkits. These toolkits are helpful for you as a buyer agent or as a listing seller agent, where when you are looking for more information to use for your home buyer consultations, here's where you are able to get 20 pages that you're able to borrow from this particular toolkit. Now, when you borrow something, remember copyright says what? Keep it with the Maryland Realtors information. Yes, you can add your own. You can use this to send out as flyers, newsletters, post online. These toolkits are available for both the buyer conversation and for the seller conversation. This session that Catherine is going to be talking about is normally provided also as part of a continuing education course. Today, we are not getting continuing education, obviously, because it's just an hour and you could get an hour and a half of continuing education. Maryland Realtors does have a product known as Housing Opportunity Certification. Some of you have taken it. What it offers is 4 classes. These 4 classes, each one of them is an hour and a half with the 4 conversations. One of them is going to be the federal national initiatives where they're talking about the federal products. We then get into state and local programs. I happen to teach that course. And then we have the mail-in mortgage program as well, which is what you're going to be listening to today. The fourth class is understanding credit. When you are done with the 4 classes, you are then going to be able to get the certification, Housing Opportunity Certification. Some of you know it as Workforce Housing Certification. So this certification is good for almost 2 years. When you take it today, for example, you would then be good till December next year. This is usually offered at your local association. Catherine today is going to be talking about the mail-in mortgage program. This is a website that Catherine is going to go through talking about the different products.
All right, so I am with the Maryland Mortgage Program, and thank you for your patience. My name is Catherine Kramer-Dale. I've been in the industry, honestly, since 1985. I've been with the state for 14 years. I have been a processor, underwriter, closer, and a loan officer. Never been a real estate agent, but on all other facets of mortgage lending. This training and presentation is about an hour long, and it's going to give you an insight of the products that are available with the Maryland Mortgage Program. And by all means, at any time, if anyone has any questions, certainly feel free to unmute yourselves and ask. This is our main website. It's www.mmp.maryland.gov. And there is not necessarily a PowerPoint or paperwork that I would necessarily be having to send to you to share, because during the pandemic, it has definitely presented opportunities for everything to be made virtual. So I'm showing you our website where you can find anything and everything that you would need as an agent to be able to be well-versed or know resources about the Maryland Mortgage Program. When you're on our website, you'll notice that the logo over here is home, and you go all the way to the right where it says Professional Portal. You click on the Professional Portal link. When you scroll down, you will pass this yellow box. I will talk about this yellow box because it is a box that anybody can sign up for. And believe me, in this day and age, we've had borrowers sign up and visit our website quite frequently, and even reach out to our state agency to ask questions. This is a public website. You do not need a password or any special access to get on it. So when I talk to you as agents, or even all of the lenders that I have, and I have about 125 lenders that are approved to do the Maryland Mortgage Program, I strongly suggest that the professionals sign up. When you click on here to sign up, you will put your name, your email address. There's some marketing questions, of course, to see who's utilizing the tools that we're presenting from the state of Maryland Department of Housing. But when you sign up for it, you will get partner news. Partner news will tell you everything that's going on with all of the partners we have. We partner with Maryland Association of Realtors. I teach all of the CE classes for all of the associations throughout the state of Maryland. PCAR, FCAR, GCAR, HCAR, GBBR, you name it, Midshore, Board of Realtors. I do the whole state. It will also tell you if we've launched any new products, which would definitely be enticing for you to come on the website to see what they are. It will tell you also that I do trainings once a month that is for anyone to jump on. It's generally the third Tuesday of the month, and it's for sales, processing, and underwriting, but it's also for agents because it's a very general overview, similar to kind of what I'm doing now. Also, when you sign up for the yellow box, it'll have the directives and notifications. Now, this is something more so for the lenders that you're referring your client to. The directives and notifications will alert them, and they only come out when it is needed. So I think so far this year, we've maybe set out 8 or 10 of them for the whole year. It will tell you when we've launched a new product. It'll tell you what the product is for and how it will benefit your client. And of course, a lot of the programs that we have are to help your borrower with down payment assistance. It will tell you when we're closed. And you might laugh and think, well, that's kind of silly, but we're a state agency. So we are closed more frequently than you or the lenders are because we're not private sector. So again, in this industry, we're all, focused on that estimated closing date. So if loans are submitted to us and you as the agent or your loan officer as the lender are thinking that you have, a date that you can count as a business day. If we're closed, we don't count it as a business day. We're not there to conduct business. That can make a big difference when you're trying to do a closing. Also, you will get rate sheets. These rate sheets are generated every day. They are generated at 10 a.m. When you sign up for this email box, this yellow box, it will show you what products we're currently offering, what the rates are for all of our loan programs for Fannie and Freddie conventional, as well as government, which is inclusive of FHA, VA, and USDA. I would strongly recommend anyone that has an interest in learning or being well versed or being empowered with the knowledge about the Maryland Mortgage Program, definitely click on this yellow box for future reference and sign up. When you pass the yellow box, you'll see a man with a pair of glasses. This is the program information. This is kind of like the window to our brain. All of these little black bullets have a purpose. They are more so used for your lenders because it provides them the income, the assets, the DTI, the credit score, the home buyer education, the loan documentation that they submit. But I'll go over some of these bullets with you to show you. At any time when you're doing a Maryland Mortgage Program loan, you are always going to refer any questions that you have directly to the loan officer that you're dealing with the lender. When you do have a borrower that you think is going to be a benefit for the Maryland Mortgage Program products, you only can use a lender that is approved with us. And as I mentioned, I have over 125 lenders. So the first things I'm going to show you is here, we have a CDA/USB contact sheet. Well, let me explain that to you while I'm pulling it up. I work for the State of Maryland Department of Housing, and my state agency has so many different departments. We have an energy department. We have an accessible homes department. We have a business lending department. We have a multifamily unit department, which I will tell you, by the way, multifamily units are not participating with a Maryland Mortgage Program loan product. We do not provide down payment assistance for any multifamily units. We also have a neighborhood revitalization division. Well, I'm in the department called CDA, Community Development Administration. And some of you as agents that have been in the industry for a while probably will just identify me as, oh, she's CDA. That's what we've always called ourselves. The programs that we're talking about today or that we've launched with the CDA, Community Development Administration Department, is called the Maryland Mortgage Program products. And as I mentioned, the majority of those products are beneficial to you and your client because it provides them down payment and closing cost assistance. When you're looking at this contact sheet, if you as an agent have any general program questions or compliance questions, you can always email the singlefamilyhousing.dhcd@maryland.gov. This email box is monitored 24/7. And someone will get back with you pretty much right away, but definitely the same day. They will be able to answer any questions that you have. And if they can't, they will either refer you directly to the lender that you're working with. Unfortunately, we can't give you any pertinent information if the loan was submitted to us and we're working with the lender on getting conditions signed off or questions about whether the borrower qualifies or not. We cannot discuss that with you as the agent. We can only discuss that with the lender that is approved with us that submitted the file. But if you have general questions, this right here is your new best friend, singlefamilyhousing.dhcd@maryland.gov. Otherwise, you are referring directly to the lender that you are working with for your client. These other names down here, these are the subject matter experts. We have an operations manager, we have an underwriting manager, we have a manager that reviews any loans that were submitted that have conditions, but you would not be contacting them as an agent. I'm going to hit the back arrow. I'm going to get back to all of these list of bullets. I'm going to go to where it says interest rates. And this is where we're going to spend the majority of this presentation. When you sign up for the yellow box, it will allow you to select the interest rates as an option, as well as the directives and notifications and the partner bulletin. The interest rate sheet is as follows. Again, it's generated at 10 a.m. every day. And if you sign up for it, you'll receive it. I think it's perfect. It's like a cheat sheet. It shows you what products we're currently offering for your borrowers to select from. When you're looking at this sheet, I want to share with you that there is a left-hand side to the rate sheet. Okay, see? And there is a right-hand side to the rate sheet. I'll explain the difference. On the left-hand side, these are called our first-time advantage products. You'll notice that the rates are lower on the left-hand side compared to the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, one of the reasons why the rates are lower is because your borrower is meeting our first-time home buyer guideline. And if you truly are a first-time home buyer, then we'll give you a lower rate. If you are not a first-time home buyer, let's say you own a home right now, you have to agree to sell your home, because when you do a Maryland Mortgage Program product, your borrowers cannot be on a deed or have any interest in any property anywhere in the world at the time of this closing, not just Maryland. You cannot be on a deed or have any interest in any property anywhere in the world at the time of this closing. So if you are a borrower who currently owns a home, but you want to sell your home because you'd like to buy, I don't know, this house in Annapolis near the water, or you want to buy a house in downtown Baltimore City where you're right near the Inner Harbor, or in Fells Point, or anywhere. Let's say you wanted to buy in Deep Creek, Maryland. It has to be your primary residence. You can never rent out this property. But if you're agreeing to sell your home and you're not a first-time home buyer to buy this new home that's going to be your new primary residence, you would then be on the flex side. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer. You could be somebody that is a repeat buyer. There are a limited amount of products, as you can see, which I'll go over with you on the right-hand side, and the rates are a little bit higher, but that's because it's affording your borrower that flexibility of still benefiting of getting down payment and closing cost assistance, but not having to be a first-time home buyer. So when you're out talking to your clients, tell them today that you took a class on the Maryland Mortgage Program, how the state provides down payment assistance to anyone that meets our 6 eligibility guidelines. You do not have to say, oh, I took a class on a first-time home buyers program, because it's not just for first-time home buyers. So open up your availability to share the knowledge with all of your clients, because you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. So don't call it that anymore. Just call it the Maryland Mortgage Program. On the left-hand side, because you are having to be a first-time home buyer, you're getting the benefit of having a lower rate. But I'll be very honest with you. As an agent, your lender and your borrower have a couple more pieces of forms that they have to fill out. Why? Because they're having to verify as a lender and sign off as a lender that they know that their borrower is meeting our first-time home buyer guideline. And that's why the lender is selecting a product that's on the left-hand side to give them the lower rate as a first-time advantage product. Your borrower is having to sign additional forms, certifying that they in fact know and are verifying that they are meeting the first-time home buyer. And that's why they're getting these products. On the right-hand side, not that I'm promoting these by any means, but the rates are higher, but these are very skinny, simplified loan files to do. It's less paperwork to do a flex product, because we don't ask you to verify as a lender or a borrower. There's less forms because you're not a first-time home buyer. We don't care where you've been the last 3 years. We just care that no matter what product you pick, you're not a homeowner at the current time when you're doing this loan. So first-time advantage, left side of the rate sheet, lower rates, a little bit more paperwork, but it's because it's for a first-time home buyer. If you're on the right-hand side, it's a little bit of a higher rate. It's called the flex, and it's a very simplified file because you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. The first product I'm going to talk to you about today is the First-Time Advantage Direct, or the Flex Direct.
Hey, Catherine.
Yeah.
Could you remind us what is the definition of a first-time home buyer for these products?
Sure, I certainly can. So in order to be considered a first-time home buyer, you either A, have never owned a home anywhere in the world at the time of this closing. B, hadn't been on a deed in the last 3 years anywhere in the world at the time of this closing. C, if you are talking to a veteran that is using their VA entitlement with us for the very first time, we will consider them to be a first-time home buyer. Or if your borrower doesn't meet A, B, or C, we have one more option. If your borrower is purchasing a property that shows up on our Maryland Mortgage Program mapper, and it is a mapper that your lender will pull up to verify. But if the property that they're interested in buying is in a T for targeted area, then your borrower would be considered a first-time home buyer. In order to be a first-time home buyer, you only have to meet one of those: A, B, C, or D. And again, A, never owned a home anywhere in the world at the time of this closing. B, hadn't been on a deed anywhere in the world in the last 3 years at the time of this closing. C, a veteran using their VA entitlement or exemption with us for the first time. Or D, if your borrower is purchasing a property that shows up on our Maryland Mortgage Program mapper that your loan officer would pull up to see if the property is in a T for targeted area. The first product is called the First Time Advantage Direct or the Flex Direct, depending on what side of the rate sheet you've determined your borrower falls on. The First Time Advantage Direct is the lowest rate on this rate sheet. And one of the reasons why is because the borrower is not getting any Maryland Mortgage Program down payment assistance. See where it says First Time Advantage Direct? No MMP DPA. That means no Maryland Mortgage Program down payment assistance. The rates are structured as Fannie and Freddie conventional, and the government rate is inclusive of FHA, VA, and yes, USDA. So the loan officer might pick this product because heck, maybe it's the lowest rate that your loan officer could possibly give your client. And your client says, you know what? I was going to come to the state and get money from them. But when I saw these rates and I saw that they were higher, I don't really need the money. I can either get a gift, or don't laugh, agents, but maybe I'm getting some seller help, or maybe I can take money out of my 401 or retirement, or maybe I have saved some money. So instead of me getting money from the state of Maryland with down payment and closing cost at these higher rates, they've had the option of selecting the lowest rate on our rate sheet, but they're not getting any down payment assistance. The lender might very well pick this product because it might be the lowest rate that the lender could even possibly offer them. And if the borrower qualifies for either a First Time Advantage Direct or a Flex Direct, this might be the product that's the best suited for your borrower. The next set of products that I'm going to discuss, again, this is the first mortgage, and this is Fannie and Freddie conventional, and the government is FHA, VA, and USDA. And these are the rates for the first mortgage, and there are no interest rates attached to the down payment assistance. The down payment assistance is recorded as a true second lien. It is never forgiven. It is not going to magically go away. You don't have to stay in the property or in this program for any certain amount of time and then it'll go away. Nope. It's never forgiven. It is not a grant. It is recorded as a second lien, and it is a down payment assistance loan. There is no interest rate for the loan. The borrower doesn't have to make payments on that down payment assistance that's recorded as a second lien because it's a loan, but they have to promise to pay it back when they sell or refi. For those of you that have been with as an agent and have worked with the Maryland Mortgage Program in the past, you will probably be more familiar with the product that was for $5,000. We had a First Time Advantage or a Flex product for down payment assistance for $5,000 probably before I was even born. I've been here for 14 years. During this pandemic, it has changed this market and this industry a lot. And I know you guys have felt it. Well, our state agency, what I do as a business development rep is I talk to all of my lenders. And I ask them, what do you need? What do we need to do as a state agency to help provide you more options for clients to utilize the program so that they can achieve the American dream of owning a home? So on July 5th, we changed our good old $5,000 DPA to be $6,000. Again, these are the rates for the first mortgage, and the second recorded lien that is for down payment and closing costs is now for $6,000. The borrower does not have to make payments, but they do have to pay it back when they sell or refi. And again, the $6,000 can be used for down payment and or closing cost. And it's either on the left-hand side as a first-time advantage product or on the right. Well, with all that said, I don't necessarily want to repeat myself because you'll be like, gosh, you just said that. But we also have a first-time advantage 3% down payment assistance product. Again, works the same way as the 6,000, but this one gives you possibly more down payment assistance. Now, one thing I want to point out to you is look at the first time advantage 6,000 and look at the rates, and look at the first time advantage 3% loan and look at those rates. They're exactly the same. On the flex side, the 6,000, the rates are exactly the same as the Flex 3% loan. It's not a mistake. The difference is either you working along with the loan officer definitely want to pick the product that is the bang for the buck for your borrower. How are you going to give your borrower the maximum amount of down payment assistance so that they can use the money for down payment and closing cost? So this one is first time advantage 3%, flex 3%. The down payment assistance is 3% of the total first mortgage, round down, no change. Well, if you're having to meet the same guidelines and you figured out what side of the rate sheet you're on, and the rates are exactly the same, you say, well, am I going to give my borrower $6,000 for down payment and closing cost? Or is 3% of the total first mortgage, round down, no change, going to give the borrower more money? Well, if it does, well, then heck, tell the loan officer, hey, they want that first time advantage 3% loan. It's going to give them more money. The next set of products you'll notice that are only found on the left-hand side of the rate sheet. They are not available currently on the right-hand side. I'll tell you why. Number one, the rates have gone up, and that's been a shock for all of us, and it's definitely a hard pill to swallow. The other thing is on the right-hand side, the rates are higher compared to the left. So the reason why we have not currently offered the products on this left-hand side to be on the right is because these rates are already kind of high. So if we offered them over here for a flex product, we're not really very confident that we're going to be allocating that money that's going to benefit everyone, because borrowers are probably not going to want to pick it on the flex side because the rates are going to be higher on the flex side. Now, don't get me wrong. I've definitely let management know, hey, it would be really nice to have the same exact products that are on the left-hand side be the same exact products on the right. And we might very well end up doing that if we see that there's any room for fluctuation in the rates. But currently right now, that is not available on the flex. So the only products that are additional on the left-hand side are the first time advantage 4% or the first time advantage 5%. So again, you have an option of doing a first time advantage at this rate with no down payment, or a first time advantage $6,000 down payment assistance at this rate, or the 3% because they're the same rates, or 4% of the total first mortgage, round down, no change, or 5%. So you have selections as to how you can use the product. And I think these are great because think about it. You could take, if you did the 5%, that's 3% towards your down payment, and the other 2% could be used towards closing costs. So there's ways for you to allocate this money. It's for down payment and or closing costs. This product right here called the Home Start, this was just launched on July 5th. I think it's pretty amazing. The Maryland Mortgage Program has always been geared to help individuals that need assistance. But when I show you the household income limits, which I'm going to back it up, not only do you have to be a first-time home buyer, but the second eligibility guideline is that you cannot exceed our household income limits. Our income limits are based off household. That's anyone on the loan or living in the home that is 18 years or older. So when you're looking at this income limit chart, your loan officer will say, okay, if you're buying in Baltimore County, and they're going to look to see, is there 1 to 2 people in the household, or are there 3 or more people in the household? They're going to pull up that mapper that I made reference to and type in the property address to find out if the property is in a non-targeted area or a targeted area. And then they're going to look at Baltimore County and say, okay, my borrower's buying in Baltimore County, 1 to 2 people in the household. If it's in a non-targeted area, they can't make more than 117.5. If it's in a targeted area, they can make more money. They can't exceed 141, and that's the max. If they have 3 or more, these are the income limits for that household. Well, I think our income limits are very generous. It's not really for low to moderate housing anymore, because if somebody says they don't think they qualify because they make too much money, I'd say, I don't know, let's look at these income limits, because the state of Maryland income limits are very, very generous. Well, when you're going back to the rate sheet and you're looking at this new product that we just launched on July 5th called the Home Start, woo! If you guys had a seatbelt in your chair, I would tell you to fasten it. This is an exceptional product. This gives your borrower 6%. Woo! 6% for down payment and closing costs. Are you kidding me? They could leave their pocketbook because they're at home. 6%, you could use 3% for down payment, 3% for closing costs. But this product, the loan officer has to do one thing before they tell you that they can offer this to your client. Yes, you got to be a first-time home buyer, but your loan officer is going to look at the Home Start product and say, hey, listen, in order to give them this 6% down payment and closing cost assistance product, I'm going to go to either the directives or notifications to see when it was launched, which I told you was July 5th, or I'm going to go to the collateral and fact sheets. Because see, any product that's on my rate sheet is found on these fact sheets, and they're kind of like cheat sheets. So let's go to the Home Start 6%. If your borrower, so I'm going to go to the second page, I'll make it bigger. If your borrower's qualifying income, that's the income you're using on your 1003. It is not our household. If your borrower's qualifying income comes in at this 50% area medium or less, woo, today's your lucky day. Now, I mean, Baltimore City, they can't make more than $58.50. Same for Baltimore County. But I mean, look at Charles. That's $70,250. Frederick, Montgomery County, Prince George's County. I'm not sure where you all do the majority of your business, but if your borrower's qualifying income doesn't exceed this 50% AMI, the loan officer would hit the back arrow and they would say, okay, let's go back to the rate sheet and let's open it up and say, you know what? If the borrower qualifies at this rate for the Home Start, Fannie or Freddie conventional 6.75, or government, which is FHA, VA, or USDA at 6.375, I'm going to offer this product to them because they are more of low to moderate income. And the state of Maryland just launched this product on July 5th to allow somebody who has low to moderate income get the maximum amount of down payment and closing cost assistance. They get 6% of down payment and closing cost. So the loan officer would say, yes, I still have to meet the 6 guidelines. Are you a first-time home buyer or not? So I know what side of the rate sheet you're on. I got to make sure I look at that household income limit chart. The third eligibility guideline is assets. You cannot have more than 20% of the sales price of liquid assets. That's checking, savings, CD, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. A gift of equity, proceeds from the sale of a home if you did have to sell a home. Then we have the fourth eligibility guideline, homebuyer education. The loan officer will let the borrowers know where they can take a homebuyer education class. The fifth eligibility guideline is the DTI, debt to income ratio, is at a 45. And the sixth and the final eligibility guideline is that their credit score has to be at 680 or higher. 640 or higher. So if your borrower meets those 6 guidelines, and this one also happens to have the overlay of being below that 50%, offer them the 6% down payment assistance. It's amazing. Those are the standard products for the Maryland Mortgage Program. When I scroll down, we have some specialty programs.
Hey, Catherine.
Yeah.
So in review, could you review the household income criteria? I think you said over 18. Is that accurate?
Yes. So when you're talking to a client, you're going to want to, there's 6 guidelines. The first one is you're going to find out if they're a first-time home buyer or not. And if you need assistance from your loan officer to determine that, you can. Number 2, household income. You're going to ask them who's on the loan, but also who is going to live in the home. We don't allow any co-signers. You don't have to be on the loan. You could just be on title, but we use household income for anyone on the loan or living in the home that is 18 years or older. older. So if your borrower tells you that they're caring for their elderly family member and grandma has Social Security, we're using mom and dad's income because they're on the loan, and we're also using grandma's. If you tell me that you have an adult child that is 18 years or older, if they are a full-time college student, we don't have to count their income. But if they are not a full-time college student and they work at Chuck E. Cheese or they work at Home Depot or wherever, and you tell me they're living in the house, we are counting and need income verification for them as well. So all of that together, you cannot exceed that household income limit chart, which I think they're very generous income limits. The third eligibility guideline is the assets. And as I indicated, think of it this way. If your borrower has a lot of money, why are they coming to the state to borrow money, right? So I don't think that our guideline is that strict because it says you cannot have more than 20% of the sales price. We say that's liquid assets is checking, savings, CD, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, a gift of equity. Assets could also be from the sale of a home. We do not count your 401 or retirement. The fourth eligibility guideline is home buyer education. Your loan officer will tell the borrower where they have options of taking the home buyer education classes. They can always and have always been available to do them online. Borrowers could do it on their pajamas with a cup of coffee, take the home buyer education, get the certificate from the agency that they take it from, and submit it to your loan officer. Home buyer education is not required by household members, only the borrowers that are on the loan and on title. The fifth eligibility guideline is the debt to income ratio, which is at a 45. And the sixth and the final eligibility guideline for these standard products that I just went over with you is at a 640.
Thank you. The other question, when it comes to assets, someone asked about 401k or retirement funds like that.
Right.
Those
So I
count?
just recapped. And in that recap, I said that we do not count 401 or retirement.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. For the specialty programs, these are different. I will tell you, this money can run out. Montgomery County, Maryland has come to us. Gosh, I think this is like the 7th program we've launched with them. Any county can come to us. We've done it with Baltimore City. We've done it with Prince George's County. The county comes to the state of Maryland and says, we want to partner with you. This is not a Montgomery County program. This is a Maryland mortgage program called the Montgomery County Homeownership Program. It is for a borrower. It's on the right-hand side, so it's a flex product. They do not have to be a first-time home buyer. They could be a repeat. They do have to meet all 6 of those eligibility guidelines, except obviously the first, because you don't necessarily have to be a first-time home buyer, but you still have to meet the income, the assets, the home buyer education, the DTI, and the credit score. These are the rates for the first mortgage. Again, conventional Fannie and Freddie, and government is FHA, VA, and USDA. But what this one does that's different is the second recorded lien, the down payment and closing cost assistance. It's not these. It's not 6,000, 3%, 4%, 5%. This one includes a DPA, down payment assistance loan, up to 40% of the household income, and the maximum is $25,000. So your borrower could get down payment assistance that's equivalent to up to 40% of the household income, capped at 25 grand. That's huge. Now, again, I grew up in Montgomery County, so I know that the houses are a lot more expensive there. So this down payment assistance is really, really a benefit to anyone who wants to purchase in Montgomery County. Again, it's only for somebody who meets the guidelines, and again, only for somebody buying in Montgomery County. This is recorded as a second lien. It's not forgiven. It doesn't magically go away. It's not a grant. It's a real loan. You got to pay it back when you sell or refi. You don't have to stay in the program for any certain amount of time. All of our loans are fixed 30, 97% LTV. This product right here is a 97% conventional refi. Hey, the state of Maryland is not in the refi market, but I will tell you that we created this program, and I've been here for 14 years. We created this program back in 2009 and 2010. If you were an agent back at that time, you know that the housing market really took a hit. A lot of people were in foreclosures, people were upside down, and I hate to say it, but if they keep selling houses at the higher values that they are right now, I think we're going to see a repeat of that that, people are going to be underwater, but that's just me. This product, look, the rate is not appealing as far as I'm concerned. And I probably shouldn't say that working for the state, but come on, if you're going to refinance, you probably could get a better rate out there somewhere else. But the reason why we offer it is because remember up here, I told you if you had any of this money when you sold or refinanced your house, you had to pay it back. Even the Montgomery County, well, any of the products we have, the money you got to pay it back. None of our products have any free money now. So the purpose of this 97% conventional is if you had a borrower that was going to refinance and they were like, oh, I don't have any money to pay that down payment off. Oh my God, I forgot about it, or I thought it was forgiven, or nope, you got to pay it back. So if you refinanced out of one of our products into this 97%, we will subordinate that second lien. And that could really be the deciding factor as to why a loan officer would select our 97% conventional, because we will subordinate the second lien. We won't require you to pay it off. If you refinance out of us, you got to pay it off. The next product is called the Maryland Home Ability product. This was relaunched again on July 5th, and it is a very different product. It is designed for somebody who is a first-time home buyer and they have to have a disability or care for somebody who is disabled. And when you hit the back arrow and you go to the collateral and fact sheets, any product that's on my rate sheet, you can pull it up. So the home ability right here, and this money does run out pretty quick. It is comprised, it tells you right here. So I'm being very transparent with you. The first lien is up to a 95% of the purchase price. It's financed at that interest rate. And then the second lien is up to 25% of the purchase price with a maximum CLTV of 105, capped at 45,000, 0% interest rate. So the first mortgage is a 95%, and then the second mortgage is 25% of the purchase price up to a maximum of $45,000. And again, it's for somebody who is disabled or caring for a disabled family member. So the product could be a great fit for somebody if they meet that home ability guideline. You can only use a gold or silver lender. So when you're talking to the lenders that you deal with the Maryland Mortgage Program, ask them if they are eligible to offer that Maryland Home Ability product for someone who is disabled or caring for a disabled individual. The next product is called the Maryland Smart Buy. And again, if you have not heard about this product, not to sound silly, like I said earlier, if you had a seatbelt on your chair, I would fasten it right now. I have a lot of passion for what I do because I've been in the industry for so long, and I really feel very blessed to have this position because I feel very well connected with the private sector. I'm still working with agents. I'm still working with lenders, salespeople, helping them pick the best product that's going to fit the needs of their client, helping them make sure that what they're selecting, the borrower is truly eligible for, and having that borrower have the benefit of getting down payment assistance. So I'm very, very honest when I say the passion that I have is very true to my heart. This product called the Maryland Smart Buy is absolutely hands down winner chicken dinner. And if I were a loan officer again, or as an agent, I would be talking about this all day and every day. It's on the left-hand side of the rate sheet. So you do have to have a borrower that's a first-time home buyer. This is also for a borrower that has student loan debt. They have to have at least $1,000 of student loan debt. It has to be in their name for their education. So here I'm 59 years old and I have a Parent Plus loan. I have a loan for my daughter's college education at Stevenson University. So I wouldn't apply for this. I wouldn't qualify this. The loan is in my name, but the education was for my daughter. So Parent Plus do not qualify. But if you have a client and they are a first-time home buyer and they have student loan debt of at least $1,000 or more, you're going to want to talk about this product before you talk about any of these. Now, first-time home buyer guideline, the same household income limit guideline, the same asset restriction guideline, the same home buyer education guideline. The DTI on this is up to 50%, and the credit score on the Maryland Smart Buy has to be at 720 or higher. Governor Hogan created this initiative, so he feels, hey, you're college educated, your credit score should be 720 or higher. So you've got to ask, credit score, are you 720 or higher? Are you first time home buyer? Do you have at least $1,000 of student loan debt? And then make sure they meet the other guidelines. The first mortgage on this is only Well, this is only a conventional, Fannie and Freddie. And the first mortgage is a 95% conventional. This product offers you a second mortgage, which is the down payment assistance. And there's three things I want to point out to you. Number one, it's optional. If you don't need any down payment assistance, you don't have to take it. You would just have a true 95% conventional. If you did want to get down payment and closing cost assistance, you have two options. The second recorded lien would be either at this rate for $6,000 of down payment and closing cost, Fannie or Freddie, or at this rate, which is a little bit higher, Fannie or Freddie, it would be 4% of the total first mortgage, round down, no change. So again, you don't have to take any down payment, but if you do, you have an option of picking which one is going to benefit your borrower with the most amount of down payment assistance. The magical part of this Maryland Smart Buy is the student loan. Let's pretend you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband or wife, John and Tabitha. John and Tabitha are very interested in the Smart Buy, and they meet all the guidelines that we just talked about. So you're going to talk to John and Tabitha, and John, hey, what's all your student loan debt? Sallie Mae, Great Lakes, everything. John says that all of his student loan debt equals to $28,000. Okay, perfect. Tabitha says, well, I went and got my master's, my student loan debt is like 70. Okay. You as the agent can also talk to your loan officer and help the borrower decide which one of them wants to take advantage of the Smart Buy portion. The Smart Buy portion is an unsecured promissory note. And what we do with the Smart Buy is whoever you tell us to pick, John or Tabitha, we're going to pick that person and we're going to take 15%, 15% of the purchase price up to the maximum of $30,000, whichever is less. And we are going to pay off student loan debt. We put it in the form of an unsecured promissory note. Yep, I said it. It's an unsecured promissory note. There's no rate. There's no payments. It's like free money. It just sits there. This is a fixed 30. So at whatever you decide to sell or refi, you're thinking, okay, you got to pay it back. Well, this one's different. If you stay in the Maryland Smart Buy product for 5 years, this is the only product on my entire rate sheet that has a seasoning requirement. If you stay in the Maryland Smart Buy product for 5 years, then that unsecured promissory note that we paid off the student loan debt of 15% of the purchase price up to the max of $30,000, whichever's less, poof, is forgiven. So if you decided to sell or refi before the 5 years, then that 5-year unsecured promissory note is deferred 20% each year over a 5-year period that you'd have to pay back. So here's the deal. If you picked John only had $28,000 of student loan debt. If it's 15% of the purchase price to the max of $30,000, whichever's less, if that paid all of his student loan debt off, wow, amazing. They stay in the product for 5 years. Oh my gosh, it's forgiven. John, we paid off all your student loan debt. You didn't have to pay anything, and it's forgiven now. Don't worry about it. We didn't even have to count it in your DTI because we paid it off. Let's say we didn't pick John. Let's say you said, no, John's good. He's got control over his student loan. Let's pick Tabitha. She owes $70,000 of student loan debt. Well, the deal is we're only paying off 15% of the purchase price up to the max of $30,000, whichever's less. Tabitha's going to have some student loan debt that's still remaining. Governor Hogan said with this Maryland Smart Buy, whoever you pick, they cannot walk away from the closing table with any remaining student loan debt. So if you told us to pick Tabitha and she had 70,000 and we only paid off, let's say it was the max of 30, she's going to have to either pay off prior to closing or she can do it at the closing table, but she cannot walk away from the closing table owing any student loan debt. So she could get a gift. She could take money out of her 401 to pay off the excess of the student loans. She could even really honestly, she could go get a loan from a bank and then the loan officer would just have to count that monthly payment in the DTI. But whoever you pick, they cannot leave the closing table owing any student loan debt. And if you stay in the program for 5 years, it's forgiven. If you leave within the first 5 years, it's deferred 20% each year. That Maryland Smart Buy is a pretty amazing product. And if I were a loan officer, I'd always start here and then work my way up here if I thought that these were a better fit.
Hey, Catherine.
Sure.
Question. What do you mean leave the table? This is when they're first purchasing the house. If they go for the Maryland Smart Buy with student loans, she has 70. She has to. So she would have $30,000 that will go into this promissory note. Then she had to come up with another 40 grand
Yep.
somewhere to pay them off.
Yep.
So Okay, so that's
Yeah.
so you want to give somebody who has less than $30,000, right? That's the
Yeah. I mean, that's the ideal thing. Unless, and
idea.
like I
Yeah.
said, you could have a client that says, listen, my parents will pay off the difference. Or I could take money out of my 401 to pay off the difference.
Okay, so they're like, say they got 35, and they only come extra 5, but they'll be totally forgiven. So yeah, that makes sense. Somebody who's just over might be 30. That might be a really good situation.
Yeah.
For them.
Yeah. Like my daughter owes 38,000. So
Right.
when she, decides next year that she wants to buy, of course, if I'm her, I'm her mom, if the state's going to pay off 30 and I only got to come out with like, $5,000 or $6,000, I'll figure out a way,
Yeah. But it's not for that person who has 200 grand who went to medical school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a client in mind, and they're pharmacy school, and they're like, probably 150.
Yeah.
So it's like, but then okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The product came out. We've had a Maryland Smart Buy 1 that I will tell you was you were only allowed to purchase foreclosed properties. That didn't last very long. Then the next product program came out where everything was a lien. So you had a very high loan to value because everything was a lien, but they allowed you to go up to 40,000. Well, now the Maryland Smart Buy 3.0 only goes up to 30, but now that student loan portion is not recorded as a lien. It's an unsecured promissory note. So I think that's kind of cool because it doesn't affect your LTV.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's a good product. Yeah. Okay. So any of these programs that you see, if you hit the back arrow and you go again to all the little bullets, if you come to where it has the collateral and fact sheets, these are pretty good fact sheets. Talks about all of our products of being a standard fixed 30, talks about all of the first time advantage products, including that new home start that is truly designed for a borrower who has the loan of moderate income. But I think that's amazing because they get down payment assistance at 6%. Like my word. Then you've got the flex products, which I know they're a very limited amount of options that they have. And then the specialty programs. So if you have any questions, you hit the back arrow, you come back to this list and you come to CDA and you click on it, and you can always reach out to the single family housing, shoot them an email. If you have a relationship with an approved lender, I definitely would go to the lender and say, listen, I took a presentation that Catherine did that gave us an overview. I want to make sure I'm understanding this because I think I could have some clients. If you ever wanted to do a workshop, even though we're still doing everything virtually, if you were working with a lender, technically I'm not supposed to do any home buyer workshops. I did them for the first 5 years I was here. But if you're working with an approved lender and you're the agent and you wanted to invite any of your borrowers, heck, I think that's amazing. To me, that shows a level of transparency so that the buyers are comfortable knowing that you as the agent are very transparent with what the expectations are of this state of Maryland product, as well as that you have a strong partnership, not only with the lender, but also with yourself and the borrower. And with me, I will do a presentation to all parties so that everyone gets a brief overview of the products that are available and what the expectations are as far as how to determine if you're eligible. I will all day and every day refer to anyone to the loan officer as the subject matter expert. I will share with you as an agent, there's a couple myths that are out there and I want to just take them away. The Maryland Mortgage Program does not process or underwrite your loans. Your lender, when you pass your borrower over to your lender, it is their responsibility to process and underwrite the loan to agency guidelines, FHA, VA, USDA, and conventional guidelines. Why? Because at the end of the day, they are selling the loan to the final investor, which is U.S. Bank. That's why I purposely left this up here. All Maryland Mortgage Program loans get sold to a final investor, which is U.S. Bank. So the lenders have to make sure that they're meeting agency guidelines. The lender also, when the loan officer works with you and they determine what product they're going to originate that's the bang for the buck for your borrower, and that you're pretty confident that you have a borrower that meets all the guidelines and that they qualify, when the loan officer turns the file over to the processor comes into here called loan documentation. And I'm just being transparent because this is all public knowledge. They come into here for the first mortgage and they print a checklist and they print some forms. Remember I told you there were more forms on the first time advantage side? There's like a buyer's affidavit, a seller's affidavit, a notice to a borrower that's certifying that they're a first time home buyer. The processor pulls stuff out of their big fat file and these forms right here, and they put them in the stacking order of this checklist to put together a Maryland Mortgage Program loan file so that we can verify, all right, let's look at the income, a written VOE. Oh, okay. If you don't have a written, we ask for a verbal with 1 month pay stubs to your W-2s. If you have somebody who is also self-employed or solely self-employed, we only ask for 2-year tax returns and a year-to-date P&L. If you have somebody living in the home or on the loan and they don't have an income, we're the state, we got forms, right? There's a form called the no income letter that I guess, I don't know, if somebody said, I don't have a job, I'm still trying to find myself, then here's the no income letter. Then we have assets. Assets, we ask for a gift letter. We don't ask for proof of donorability. We don't ask for proof of deposit. And we ask for a VOD or 1 month of a current bank statement. We look at that bank statement. We look to make sure, oh yeah, there's their payroll deposit. Oh, what's this $400 deposit? We have to make sure that we have verified all sources of deposits because we have to make sure that it's not another source of income. We only get 1 month bank statements. So we need to make sure that any deposits are not another source. And believe me, during the pandemic, people became pampered chef reps. Maybe somebody became had some side hustle going on or whatever. We just need to make sure that we are calculating all sources of income. The home buyer education certificate, the contract, the appraisal, the seller's affidavit, everything the processor puts together in the stacking order to prepare a Maryland Mortgage Program first mortgage. They also do the same thing for the second mortgage. That's the down payment assistance. They're telling us which product did they pick. Are they getting the 6,000, the 3%, the 4%, the 5%, that home start, or the smart buy? When they put together these files, they upload the packet to us, and it only takes us 24 to 48 hours for us to review this loan file. Why? Because we're not underwriting the loan. We are reviewing it to make sure you're meeting our 6 eligibility guidelines. If a lender submits a loan file to us and we've reviewed it in 24 to 48 hours and we have questions or concerns, we will incomplete the file. We will notify your lender processor to let them know, hey, you filled this form out wrong, or we got a question about this deposit or something. And then once those conditions have been corrected and submitted back to us, it takes another 24 to 48 hours. But you could easily do a Maryland Mortgage Program loan in 45 days, easily.
Thank you. I'm sure, Catherine, there's a lot more that we could go over.
Yes.
Amira, is it a question that, go ahead, and then we'll end.
Okay.
Thank you. Is US Bank also a lender?
Not as far as working. No, they're an investor.
Oh, just an investor. Okay.
Yeah, they're an investor.
And those rates can't be bought down, I'm assuming, right?
No, so those rates are fixed. You can't buy up or buy down the rates. The Maryland Mortgage Program does not charge any fees. So there's no CDA or MMP fees. When you're talking to the lender, ask them what they charge to do a Maryland Mortgage Program loan. It has to be a set fee. And if you ever have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. But definitely, if you have a relationship with a Maryland Mortgage Program lender, let them know that you've taken the presentation and that you'd like to learn more about it. If you want to reach out to me and do any additional presentations, we're more than happy to help you.
Thanks for watching. We want you to come back because we know that you learned something from watching that particular video. That means you're going to subscribe and share with others what you learned from this particular platform. Welcome back on Friday to attend this live at 12 p.m. Eastern. Registration is found on our website, trainingwithbrenda.com or brendakasuva.com. Until next time, take care.